What's up? I'm Lily. Revenge Crown brings you the stories that keep you hooked. If that sounds good, smash subscribe and let's go. The Monday morning light filtered through the windows of Mom's living room. I'd been summoned for an urgent family meeting, which I knew meant they wanted something. My sister Vanessa sat on the couch, perfectly manicured nails drumming against her designer purse. Mom stood by the fireplace like she was preparing to deliver a sermon. Alyssa, Mom began, using my full name like I was 12 again. Your grandmother's trust fund becomes fully accessible to you next week when you turn 30. Your sister needs that money more than you do. She has a lifestyle to maintain. I took a slow sip of the coffee I'd brought with me. A lifestyle to maintain. Yes, Vanessa said, examining her nails. Obviously. I have the house, the car payments, the club memberships. You live in that tiny apartment and drive a Honda. You don't need $750,000. I'd known this was coming. My grandmother had split her estate between Vanessa and me, but with different terms. Vanessa got her $750,000 at 25. I got mine at 30, with strings attached. I had to complete my graduate degree and maintain stable employment for 2 years. I'd done both. Master's degree in data analytics, 2 years at a Fortune 500 company. The money was mine in 6 days. Mom, I said quietly, Vanessa already got her trust fund 5 years ago. She got the exact same amount I'm about to receive. That's different, Mom said quickly. She needed it for her wedding, for the house, for establishing herself. You've been working this whole time. You have income. I have income because I work 60-hour weeks, I replied. Vanessa hasn't worked in 4 years. She doesn't need to work, Mom snapped. And that's not the point. The point is family helps family. You're being selfish by keeping all that money when your sister is struggling. I pulled out my phone. Struggling, yes, Vanessa said, leaning forward. Do you know how expensive it is to maintain a house in Willow Creek Estates? The HOA fees alone are $800 a month. Plus I have my car payment, insurance, shopping, travel. Where did your trust fund go? I asked. The room went silent. That's none of your business, Mom said sharply. It is if you're asking me to give Vanessa mine, I replied. I opened my banking app and pulled up a document I'd prepared weeks ago, anticipating this exact conversation. I had a forensic accountant look into something. It cost me $3,000, but it was worth every penny. Vanessa's face paled slightly. You did what? I hired someone to track the trust fund distributions. Grandma set them up through Westfield Trust Bank. All transactions are technically part of the estate record, which means they're accessible to other beneficiaries under the right circumstances. I turned my phone screen toward them. Vanessa received $750,000 on June 15, 2019. By December 2019, 6 months later, she had $340,000 left. Mom's face flushed red. How dare you spy on your sister? It's public estate record, I interrupted. And before you tell me I should share my money, maybe you should know where hers went. I swiped to the next screen. The forensic accountant tracked the major expenditures. $180,000 for a wedding that lasted 4 hours. $220,000. Down payment on a house that was foreclosed 18 months later because she couldn't make the mortgage payments. $95,000 on a Mercedes that was repossessed after 11 months of missed payments. Vanessa stood up. You had no right. $73,000 on shopping and travel. I continued, my voice level. $48,000 to a boyfriend who borrowed money for a business venture that never existed. $60,000 in credit card debt she paid off, then immediately racked up again. Should I continue? Stop it, Mom said, but her voice wavered. I swiped again. Here's the really interesting part. Between 2019 and 2023, Vanessa has received an additional $147,000 from you, Mom. Wire transfers, checks, direct deposits. Where did that money come from? Mom's face went from red to white. That's between me and your sister. It came from my college fund, didn't it? I said quietly, the one you told me was not as much as we hoped, so I had to take out student loans. The one that magically had just enough to cover 2 years of community college instead of the 4-year university I got into. The silence was deafening. I graduated with $67,000 in student loan debt. I continued. I've been paying $850 a month for 8 years. You were always the smart one, Mom said defensively. You could handle loans. Vanessa needed support. Vanessa needed accountability, I corrected. But she's never had that, has she? Every time she makes a terrible financial decision, you bail her out. You told me I was building character by working 2 jobs during college. You told me student loans were normal. But Vanessa, she gets a blank check. My phone buzzed. It was 9 a.m. The bank had opened. I stood up. I'm leaving now. I have an appointment at Westfield Trust Bank to finalize the transfer of my trust fund into my personal accounts. Elisa, wait, Mom started. No, I said firmly. I've waited long enough. I've been the responsible one, the one who worked hard, the one who didn't ask for handouts. And now you want me to hand over everything I earned and waited for because Vanessa can't manage money. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. I'm your sister. How can you be so cruel? Cruel would be enabling you to destroy another $750,000, I replied. I'm doing you a favor by saying no. Mom moved to block the door. If you walk out that door without helping your sister, you're not welcome in this family anymore. I'd heard that threat before. Every time I refused to lend Vanessa money. Every time I'd said no to funding her latest scheme. Every time I'd chosen my own financial stability over being her personal ATM. Then I guess I'm not welcome, I said, stepping around her. Elisa, Mom's voice cracked. Please, she's going to lose the house. She's 3 months behind on the mortgage. They're starting foreclosure proceedings. I stopped at the door. How much? $28,000 to catch up, Mom said quickly. Just $28,000. You're about to have $750,000. It's nothing to you. It's not nothing, I said. It's $28,000 I worked for by maintaining a 4.0 GPA in graduate school while working full-time. It's $28,000 I earned by putting up with a boss who micromanages every project. It's $28,000 that could go toward finally paying off my student loans. I only have because you gave my college fund to Vanessa. I turned to face my sister. How much is the house worth? She hesitated. I don't know, maybe $400,000? You bought it for $380,000 with $220,000 down, I said, pulling up another document on my phone. I have expenses, she said weakly. The forensic accountant pulled your credit report too, I said. It's part of the estate review process. You've spent $11,000 in the last 3 months. On what? The HOA is $800 a month, so that's $2,400. The mortgage you're behind on would be $2,700. That's $5,100. Where did the other $5,900 go? Vanessa looked at Mom. Mom looked at the floor. You're still shopping, I said, the pieces falling into place. You're behind on your mortgage because you're spending money on everything except your mortgage. I deserve to have nice things, Vanessa said, her voice rising. Just because I am having a rough patch doesn't mean I should have to live like a pauper. A rough patch you've been having for 5 years, I replied. Since the moment you got your trust fund. This isn't bad luck, Vanessa. This is bad choices. Over and over again, my phone buzzed again. A text from my bank advisor. Ready when you are. I opened the door. I'm going to the bank now. I'm transferring my trust fund into accounts that neither of you can access. I'm using part of it to pay off my student loans. The rest is going into investments and retirement accounts. You're going to regret this, Mom said, her voice hard. Family's everything. When you need us someday, we won't be there. You've never been there, I said quietly. Not when I was working 2 jobs to get through college. Not when I was eating ramen for dinner so I could make my loan payments. Not when I asked you to co-sign an apartment lease because my credit wasn't established yet. The only time you've ever reached out is when you wanted me to give money to Vanessa. I walked to my car, my hands shaking but my resolve solid. At Westfield Trust Bank, I met with Gloria Chun, the trust officer who'd managed my grandmother's estate. She was a woman in her 60s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Miss Morrison, she said, shaking my hand. Congratulations on reaching your milestone. The trust transfers to your control as of today. Thank you, I said. I'd like to move it into several accounts. Checking, savings, and investment accounts. All in my name only, Gloria nodded. Smart. Are you expecting anyone to contest this transfer? My mother and sister want me to give them the money, I said. They're not happy I'm refusing. Gloria's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes sharpened. Your grandmother was very specific about the terms of your trust. She wanted to ensure you were established and stable before you received it. She was concerned about outside pressure. She knew, I said softly. She knew, Gloria confirmed. She actually left a letter for you. I'm authorized to give it to you once the trust transferred. She pulled out an envelope with my name, written in my grandmother's distinctive handwriting. I opened it with trembling fingers. My dearest Elisa, if you're reading this, you've reached 30 and fulfilled all the requirements I set. I'm proud of you, wherever I am. I know your mother will pressure you to give this money to Vanessa. She's probably been planning it since the day I established these trusts. This is why I gave Vanessa hers first. I wanted to see what she'd do with it. I suspected she'd waste it, and if I'm right, it will prove that giving her more would be pointless. You are not responsible for your sister's poor choices. You are not responsible for your mother's enabling. This money is yours. You earned it through hard work and dedication. Don't let them guilt you. Don't let them manipulate you. You deserve security and peace. Love always, Grandma Eleanor. I read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down my face. Gloria quietly pushed a box of tissues across the desk. She was a remarkable woman, Gloria said. She actually predicted this scenario almost word for word. She told me they're going to descend on Alyssa the moment the money becomes available. Make sure she knows she has the right to say no. I've said no, I confirmed. But I need to make sure they can't access it somehow. Gloria pulled up my account information. The trust is now fully in your control. I'd recommend setting up several layers of security. Password protection, verbal confirmation requirements, and a list of people who are specifically blocked from accessing account information. My mother and sister, I said immediately. Done, Gloria replied, typing efficiently. I'm also going to set a fraud alert on your accounts. If anyone tries to impersonate you or access these funds, we'll be notified immediately. Over the next hour, we restructured everything. The trust money was divided. $100,000 in checking for immediate needs, $200,000 in high-yield savings, and $450,000 in diversified investments. I set up automatic payments to finish my student loans within 6 months. When I left the bank, I felt lighter than I had in years. Mom called 17 times that afternoon. I didn't answer. Vanessa sent 43 text messages ranging from pleading to threatening to sobbing apologies. I blocked her number. That evening, my Uncle Rob called. He was Mom's brother and we'd always been close. Your mom called me, he said. She's hysterical. Says you're abandoning the family. She wants me to give Vanessa my trust fund, I explained. I figured, Rob said. Listen, I need to tell you something. Your grandmother told me about the trust terms years ago. She told me why she structured them differently. She knew Vanessa would waste it. She knew, Rob confirmed. And she knew your mom would try to guilt you into handing yours over too. She actually told me if Alyssa gives in, she spent her whole life being their ATM. I'm not giving in, I said. Good, Rob said firmly. Your grandmother was right. Vanessa has been enabled her entire life. Your mom gave her every advantage and told you that you had to earn everything. It wasn't fair then, and it's not fair now. Mom says I'm selfish. You're not selfish for protecting yourself, Rob said. You're smart. And for what it's worth, I'm proud of you. I cried for the second time that day. Over the next 2 weeks, the harassment intensified. Mom showed up at my apartment building. Security escorted her out. Vanessa created fake email accounts to send me messages. I blocked them all and contacted a lawyer. Attorney Marcus Webb specialized in family financial disputes. He was blunt and efficient. You need a restraining order, he said after reviewing everything. This is harassment bordering on financial coercion. Will that work? I asked. It'll send the message, Marcus said. And it'll create a legal record. If they escalate, You have documentation. We filed for restraining orders against both Mom and Vanessa. The hearings were scheduled for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, I paid off my student loans in full. The day the final payment cleared, I stared at my bank balance showing zero debt for the first time in 8 years. I cried again, happy tears this time. I bought a new car. Nothing extravagant, a reliable Toyota, but it was mine, paid in cash with no one's name on the title but my own. I started looking at houses. Small ones, in neighborhoods I could afford comfortably even without the trust fund. I wanted something that was mine, that no one could take away or claim entitlement to. The restraining order hearing arrived on a cold November morning. Mom and Vanessa showed up with their own attorney, a nervous-looking man who clearly wasn't prepared for Marcus. "Your Honor," Marcus began, "my client has been subjected to continuous harassment since accessing her legal inheritance." He presented the evidence, call logs, texts, security footage from my apartment building. "Miss Morrison has already given this family years of financial support," Marcus continued. "She was denied her college fund, forcing her into $67,000 of student loan debt. Meanwhile, her sister received identical inheritance funds 5 years ago and squandered them entirely. The family now expects Ms. Morrison to fund her sister's continued irresponsibility." Mom's attorney stood. "Your Honor, this is a family matter. Miss Morrison's mother and sister are simply asking for help during difficult times. That's what families do." The judge, a stern woman in her 50s, looked unimpressed. "Asking is different from harassing. The evidence shows over 200 attempts at contact after being told, no, that's not asking. That's harassment." She looked at Mom and Vanessa. "Do either of you dispute the evidence presented?" Vanessa started crying. "She's my sister. She's supposed to help me. She's not required to finance your lifestyle," the judge said sharply. "The restraining orders are granted. You are forbidden from contacting Ms. Morrison directly or indirectly for a period of 2 years. You cannot go to her home, her workplace, or contact her through any means. Violation will result in immediate arrest." As we left the courthouse, Mom caught my eye. For a moment, I saw something that might have been regret. Then it hardened into anger. "You'll regret this," she said coldly. "When you have nothing and need help, don't come crying to us." "I won't need to," I said. "Because I actually know how to manage money." 6 months later, I closed on a small house in a quiet neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a yard with apple trees. I paid 20% down and had a mortgage I could easily afford on my salary alone. The trust money remained invested, growing steadily. Vanessa's house went into foreclosure as predicted. She moved in with Mom. According to Uncle Rob, who still updated me occasionally, they blamed me for everything. "Your mom tells everyone you abandoned the family," Rob said during one of our monthly dinners. "That you're greedy and heartless. What do you tell people?" I asked. "The truth," Rob said. "That you protected yourself from people who saw you as a bank account instead of a daughter and sister." I started a blog about financial independence, particularly for people from families that expected them to be permanent ATMs. It grew slowly but steadily. Other people shared their stories: college funds stolen, inheritances demanded, guilt trips over saying no. I wasn't alone. None of us were. A year after the trust fund transferred, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. It was from Vanessa. "I know I'm not supposed to contact you, but I needed to say I'm sorry. You were right. I wasted everything. Mom and I are struggling, and I finally understand that this is my fault, not yours. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know." I stared at the email for a long time. Part of me wanted to believe it was genuine. Part of me knew it might be another manipulation. I forwarded it to Marcus, who confirmed it violated the restraining order. I had the choice to pursue legal action. I chose not to. Not because I forgave her, but because I was done. Done fighting, done explaining, done engaging. I deleted the email and blocked the address. My grandmother's trust fund gave me financial security. But the real gift was learning to protect myself from people who believed they were entitled to my hard work, my choices, my money. They tried to take everything. They said I owed it to them. They said family meant sacrifice. But family doesn't mean self-destruction. It doesn't mean funding someone else's irresponsibility forever. I learned to say no, I learned to mean it. I learned that I deserved peace more than I deserved their approval. The trust fund was mine. My life was mine, my future was mine. And for the first time in 30 years, I was truly free.